Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into Salesforce's colossal $8 billion acquisition of Informatica.
Yeah, it's a huge number.
It really is. And this isn't just another tech headline, you know. It feels like a really high-stakes gamble with massive implications, especially for, well, the future of AI in the enterprise.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And for this deep dive, we're drawing from a really insightful look at the deal by Jay Tillotson over at Techshift.
Ah, right. The piece called Salesforce to Acquire Informatica, the Impact on Agentic AI.
That's the one. It lays out the strategic why behind that huge price tag and what this merger could actually mean for how businesses use these, increasingly autonomous systems.
So the mission here is really to cut through the noise and figure out what this $8 billion investment is truly about. It's obviously tied to data, that's clear, but it feels like a pretty bold statement on where Salesforce sees the future of AI going, specifically these autonomous agents.
What's particularly interesting, I think, is that the core problem Salesforce, well, determined to solve with this. The article frames it as the single biggest bottleneck for AI right now.
Which is?
Having access to truly trusted, reliable data, that's the crux of it.
And just so we're clear, when we say agentic AI, we're talking about those systems that are designed to operate with a degree of autonomy, executing complex tasks.
Exactly. Think automating big chunks of customer service or even supply chain management.
Okay.
But this is the key thing. They can only do that reliably, at scale, if the data they're acting on is clean, accurate, and they understand its context.
Right. Context is everything.
Precisely. And this is exactly where Informatica comes in. They are a recognized leader in cloud data management. Their expertise in data cataloging, strong governance, integration, metadata management, it fills critical gaps in Salesforce's existing stack.
Especially for their Agentforce AI platform, I imagine.
Especially for Agentforce, yes.
So the idea isn't just to, bolt Informatica onto the side. It's deeper integration.
Oh, absolutely. Weaving it deeply into the fabric. The article highlights several key integration goals. One big one is creating what they call a unified data fabric.
A unified data fabric? Sounds complex.
It is. Think of it as creating one single coherent view of all your data, no matter where it lives. They plan to combine Informatica's IDMC, that's their intelligent data management cloud, with Salesforce's own data cloud, MuleSoft, Tableau, all those assets.
Wow. Okay. That's ambitious. What else are they aiming for?
A second critical goal is significantly enhancing AI-ready metadata. This is, it's absolutely crucial.
Why is that?
Because for an AI agent to act autonomously, it needs to understand not just the data itself, but everything about it, where it came from, that's lineage, how accurate it is, quality, what rules apply, compliance.
Ah, okay. So metadata provides that essential context, like giving the AI the history book and the rule book for the data it's using.
That's a great way to put it. Exactly. And third, ensuring scalable governance, especially using master data management or MDM.
It's MDM?
Right. Yeah, MDM is all about having that single trusted source for critical business data. Think customer records, product catalogs. This makes sure that when an AI agent makes a decision, say, about a customer, it's using the definitive, accurate version, and that decision follows the rules.
Okay, makes sense. And Mark Benioff himself, Salesforce's CEO, he's quoted in the article putting this in pretty stark terms, doesn't he?
He does. He frames it as almost essential. He says, together, we'll create the most complete agent-ready data platform in the industry. This is how we'll deliver smarter, safer AI outcomes at scale. Pretty direct.
And it's not just him, right? The analysts are weighing in too.
Yeah, Dan Ives is also quoted. He calls Informatica a gold mine of data and suggests this really positions Salesforce strongly in that huge enterprise data market estimated at, what, $150 billion?
A massive market. Okay, so that lays out the strategy, the why. But with any deal this big, you get supporters and skeptics. Let's dive into the case for this. What are the supporters pointing to?
Well, the first major argument highlighted is directly tackling that classic problem. Garbage in, garbage out.
Ah, the GI Go problem. Always relevant with data.
Especially with AI. It's really the Achilles heel of so many AI projects, isn't it? You can have the smartest models, but feed them bad data.
And you get bad results. Or worse.
Exactly. The article points to Informatica's tools, mentioning Claire GPT for metadata analysis and IDMC for integrating data across complex hybrid clouds as promising solutions to clean, sanitize, and add that necessary context to enterprise data.
The example they used was pretty clear, I thought. deploying AI agents for IT support tickets.
Right. That only works if the agent can absolutely trust the data about the assets, the users, the past issues,
If the data is messy, the agent just stops and bumps it to a human.
which defeats the whole purpose of the automation. Informatica aims to fix that trust layer.
Okay, what's the second big argument for the deal?
Accelerating AI adoption, specifically within highly regulated industries. Salesforce has been making a big push into areas like healthcare, finance, the public sector.
Where data governance isn't just nice to have, it's mandatory.
Precisely. And Informatica already has tools built to handle regulations like HIPAA and GDPR. That's a huge advantage.
So this could really speed things up for Salesforce, getting AI agents certified for sensitive tasks.
Potentially, yes. Things like processing medical claims or patient triage. Trying to build that governance layer from scratch for those use cases would be incredibly difficult and slow.
Makes sense. And the third point, revenue.
Yes, revenue synergies and market expansion. Informatica brings a big customer base, over 5,000 clients. That's a lot of potential cross-selling for Salesforce,
And cost savings too.
apparently.
Yes.
Salesforce's CFO, Robin Washington, reportedly highlighted potential for $1.2 billion in cost synergies from combining operations, plus that revenue upside, especially in those regulated sectors we just talked about.
Okay, so that's a compelling case from the supporter side, but there's always another side. What are the skeptics worried about?
Well, the primary challenge, and it's a big one according to the article, is just the sheer complexity of integration.
Right, Salesforce has bought big companies before, Slack, Tableau, MuleSoft.
Exactly. And while they've added capabilities, fully integrating them, making it all seamless, realizing that full synergistic vision, it hasn't always been, shall we say, smooth sailing.
I remember reading about some of the Slack integration hurdles.
Yeah, Gaurav Tillan, who actually co-founded Informatica, is quoted giving a pretty blunt warning. He talks about a rocky road.
Ouch.
He specifically points to potential product overlap, especially between Salesforce's MuleSoft and Informatica's own integration tools. He estimates it could take 5+ years to sort out and might just end up confusing customers in the meantime.
That's a long time in tech.
It is. And the article uses the Slack example specifically, Salesforce struggling to really unify Slack's UI with its core CRM tools, leading to user frustration. Merging two complex data platforms could easily hit similar, maybe even bigger, roadblocks.
Okay, integration complexity is number one. What else?
Valuation concerns. There's definitely skepticism around the price tag. Informatica's stock had actually dropped quite a bit, 24% year over year, before the deal was announced.
And the price they paid, $25 a share, was less than what was discussed before.
Significantly less, yeah. There were apparently talks back in 2024 around $40 a share that failed. So paying $25 now. Well, some analysts are questioning it. Guggenheim's John DiFucci is quoted saying, Salesforce overpaid for diminishing returns. This isn't another Tableau.
That's quite pointed, not another Tableau.
It really sums up the skepticism about the price versus Informatica's recent growth trajectory.
And then there's the underlying tech itself, Agentic AI. Is the ROI even proven yet? Is it ready for prime time?
That's the third major challenge highlighted. The promise of efficiency is huge, obviously. But early adopters, they're reporting mixed results. It's still, a pretty new frontier.
The article had that example of the Fortune 500 retailer.
Ah, yes, the AI-powered inventory system. That's a striking one. It mispredicted demand by 15%.
Which sounds bad, but what did it cost?
It caused a $2 million overstock problem, just from that one error.
Wow.
It really highlights that if the underlying data isn't practically flawless, Agentic AI doesn't just make small mistakes, it can amplify them into really significant, costly business errors.
So, okay, if we kind of summarize the trade-offs here based on the article.
Right, you see the push and pull. On data governance, the pro is solving that critical dirty data problem for AI.
But the con is the potential overlap and redundancy with tools like MuleSoft and the integration headache.
Exactly, market position. Salesforce gets a bigger piece of that massive data market.
But maybe paid too much for a company whose growth had slowed.
Right, AI reliability. It promises safer, more trustworthy AI agents.
But it's unproven if even the best data tools can fix all AI issues, like, say, hallucination, if the data is ambiguous.
A very real concern. And finally, integration risk. Salesforce has M&A experience, sure.
But that history also includes some tricky post-merger integrations, product confusion.
It's a known risk factor for them.
So, stepping back, what does all this mean for you, the listener, especially if you're a decision maker thinking about AI or managing data?
Well, according to the article, this deal really underscores two key truths right now. First, data maturity. It's not just an IT thing anymore. It's really becoming the new competitive battleground.
Meaning your ability to actually deploy successful AI agents hinges entirely on having clean, well-governed data. It's fundamental.
It's table stakes now. And second, vendor lock-in risks. They're definitely increasing. Salesforce is very explicitly building this huge integrated ecosystem, CRM, data, AI.
Which can seem simple, having it all in one place.
Right, there's an appeal there. But it also means you become more deeply embedded in one vendor's world, which can limit your flexibility later on.
Okay, those are the big picture takeaways.
Right.
Does the article offer specific steps leaders should take now?
It does. 3 main actionable steps. First,
Okay.
audit your own data readiness. Seriously look at it. Can your current data actually support autonomous AI agents? Can you easily trace data lineage?
And if the answer is no, or maybe,
Then, prioritizing tools and processes for metadata management and data quality is critical, like right now.
okay, audit data readiness. What's second?
Evaluate your vendor strategies. Does Salesforce's increasingly bundled stack fit your long-term vision? Or are you better off with a more best-of-breed approach, picking different tools? Weigh that integration benefit against your need for flexibility.
Based on your own specific situation.
Exactly. And third, pressure test your governance frameworks. Before you even think about scaling up AI agents, especially in sensitive areas, you need absolute confidence they'll comply with regulations and internal policies.
Because deploying autonomous systems without solid governance.
Is frankly asking for trouble. Big trouble.
So ultimately, whether this specific $8 billion bet pays off perfectly for Salesforce or not.
Right, regardless of that outcome, the core premise here seems undeniable. The future of effective agentic AI in business depends completely on having robust, trustworthy data foundations. That underpins everything.
And the big question is whether Salesforce can actually execute on this. Turn Informatica's data expertise into AI agents that truly understand and act reliably.
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Or the $8 billion question here. And it leads directly to the critical question the article poses for you, the listener, to think about in your own organization.
Which is?
If you were to deploy AI agents tomorrow, would they possess enough contextual understanding of the data to operate independently? Or would they falter as soon as they encounter a data inconsistency?
That's a sobering question. You really need to think about your own organization's data maturity, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you've already invested heavily in strong practices, good data cataloging, clear lineage, quality control, you're probably in a decent position.
You're better positioned to leverage agentic AI with some confidence. The agents have a reliable base.
But if your data landscape is more fragmented, if it lacks clear governance, if it's riddled with inconsistencies,
Then you've got urgent work to do.
prioritization becomes critical right now. That might mean piloting robust data management tools, maybe like Informatica's, maybe others, to clean things up, classify assets, bring order.
And keep an eye on how Salesforce integrates Informatica, but maybe maintains some flexibility.
Yes, assess the upcoming platform changes, but ensure your overall data infrastructure stays adaptable and compliant. That's key for safely scaling AI benefits as the tech keeps evolving.
So the final thought, really, drawing it all together.
Yeah, the final thought from the article, and it really resonates. Whatever you think of the Salesforce Informatica deal itself, your organization's ability to actually harness the power of agentic AI, it's going to depend almost entirely on the strength, the reliability, and the governance of your basic data foundation.
Disciplined data practices, they're not just background IT work anymore. They are the essential starting point for intelligent automation, for competitive advantage in this AI era. It really is all about the data.